Joining us now is Adrian Fontes. He is Secretary of State for Arizona. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for joining Scripps News and the program this morning. Let me just start off with a pretty simple question. Do you believe that this executive order is legal?
There are many parts of this executive order that purport to override what Congress has established as law and signed by prior presidents. Executive orders do not have the authority to override that lawmaking process. They can supplement it and speak to the execution of it, on the other hand. So the piece that you did speak to just a moment ago, I think does violate the Voting Rights Act. And we are looking very carefully at every legal option to see how it is that we can prevent this from kind of messing with our elections.
Do you think that other parts of this act are legal, or are other parts illegal? We talked about the citizenship, proof of citizenship to vote, but there are many other changes that would be enacted in this executive order, like paper ballots. Some states don't have that. I know Arizona does use paper ballots, but there are a litany of other things. Do you think everything is legal or nothing is legal in this? Kind of break this down for me.
Well, first and foremost, let me just say this. We've got amazing elections in the United States of America across all states. However, we can see a little improvement here and a little improvement there. They are by no means perfect. But at the end of the day, this sweeping draconian power grab that the White House is positing in 9 substantive sections of this executive order is outrageous. It is the federalization of elections without any support for the states in so far as resources are concerned. And that's really problematic, because basically what I think the White House is doing, in conjunction with previously cutting off any access that state and election officials have to CISA at the Department of Homeland Security, to keep our elections secure. So we can't do that anymore. I think this is the next step in eventually potentially canceling our elections. Many of these pieces are possibly illegal. Our lawyers are going to be looking very carefully into that and are doing so right now. But I just think it's a power grab. I think it's dangerous. It is another step towards an authoritarian state, and somebody's got to be sounding that clarion cry.
I want to follow up on that. You posted on X earlier this week that you believe that this executive order, that with this executive order, the president is, quote, laying the groundwork to cancel the elections in 2026. What evidence do you have of that?
Well, like I just said, first and foremost, we've heard President Trump himself say we will not have to vote for him again if he gets elected. Well, he got elected, and now he has opened the gates to foreign interference into our election systems. We can no longer use the information sharing systems that we knew as the EI-ISAC and the MSI-ISAC. CISA, which was charged with protecting critical infrastructure, is prohibited from speaking to state and local election officials. That means that the bad guys can just walk in now. China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, they've got free reign to hack into our systems without any of those federal protections that we had. That is all of the past. This new executive order basically asks that we turn over all of our voter data to Elon Musk and Doge. And who knows what they're going to do with this data? I mean, they're already deporting U.S. citizens. What are they going to do to our voters? How many eligible U.S. citizens are going to be denied the right to vote in potentially local elections or other elections between now and the future, because some of those are tied together? And then the bottom line is this: if there's enough chaos, it would be easy to say, well, our systems don't work, we just can't have elections. This is the setup. This is their path. This is, I think, their plan. They've said so right out loud, President Trump has. And the last thing he wants to do is lose his Republican majority in Congress. That's what it looks like politically on the ground. And unfortunately for just election administrators like us who want to be nonpartisan, I just want everybody to vote. Results notwithstanding. I certified Donald Trump's win in Arizona because that's what Arizona voters wanted. But I don't think this is what they wanted. I think they want to be able to vote in the future for their own leaders and not be told who their leaders are going to be.
Don't you think that it might be a little dramatic to say he's trying to cancel elections? Do you think that voters in Arizona will step up and say, no, we have to have elections here? And would you plan on continuing to administer those elections in the midterms in 2026?
Well, what is dramatic is the fact that USAID is gone. and all of those protections that it provides us for national security, for humanity across the globe, to maintain some peace and civility in places that could flare up and cause American military personnel to be deployed where they don't have to be deployed. What's dramatic is the fact that Medicaid is on the chopping block, that Social Security is on the chopping block, that every other aspect of what this administration has been doing at lightning speed has gone by. And frankly, look, my party hasn't been the best at responding to these things. But at the end of the day, if I've got to be the canary in the coal mine, I will be. This is dangerous. There is nothing wrong with American election systems. Americans know this. But by setting this up so that they can cancel elections, they will be able to do that. And the last thing we need to do is sit idly by and pretend like we're being dramatic when the field is being plowed for this exact thing to happen. Why in the world would we sit by and pretend like this isn't the direction that we're going in? Why in the world wouldn't we react viscerally against someone who wants to take away Americans' rights to vote? The fact that we sit by and do nothing is the reason that tyrants get to take over in regular democracies around the world. We are no different. We need to be vigilant. We need to defend with vigor. And God willing, I am wrong. And I hope I'm wrong. But we cannot pretend for a minute that this isn't a possibility. And there's no other reasonable explanation.
If DOJ came to you in your office and asked you to hand over voter rolls, voter information, would you do that? Would you turn over anything to DOJ and to Elon Musk's team?
I would tell them to go to hell. There's no way in the world that I'm going to turn my voter information over to a non-elected bureaucrat who has no legal authority to have possession of that personal identifying information of Arizona's voters. I will protect and defend every voter in Arizona, whether they're of my party or not. This is far too important for the perpetuation of this republic. This is way too important for the nature of our society. Our democracy is the bedrock of everything that we have in benefit as American citizens. We cannot bend on this one. We, might have disagreements on trade policy. We might have disagreements when it comes to other sorts of things like the environment or education. These are spaces where I think some reasonable debate can be had. But when it comes to protecting and defending our democracy, I will be absolutely vigilant, and I will be absolutely harsh in protection of my voters.
Mr. Secretary, I have a million more questions that I could ask you about this. I know we've talked over the years about Arizona's election system, but thank you so much for joining us today, Adrian Fontes, Secretary of State of Arizona. Appreciate your time.
Happy to be here. Thank you.